Welcome to Leaders Lead Podcast. Are you ready to conquer your challenges and achieve greatness? Join us as we dive into inspirational stories of industry leaders who have overcome adversity and reached new heights. Get ready for electrifying insights and captivating conversations that will ignite your passions for success. This is your go-to show for empowerment, growth, and leadership. Buckle up. Leaders Lead Podcast is here to take you on a transformational ride. Hey, welcome. This is Leaders Lead the Podcast. I am super excited. Today, we have somebody really special. We're talking to Dallin Taylor, the CEO of Simply Edit Pro. That rhymed. The CEO of Simply Edit Pro. I'm super excited to have this conversation because, in case you haven't noticed, it's 2024 and we are embarking on a new age of AI like nobody's business. If you're a business owner and you're not using AI, what word comes to mind? Blockbuster. I think about Blockbuster and I think about Netflix. If you're too proud to use AI because you feel like you're going to lose the authenticity of your business, then you are going to be left behind. And that is one thing with Leaders Lead the Podcast and all my other businesses. I'm going to tell you right now, I use AI because it is the thing to do. You have to use AI to make your processes better. So another thing that I want you all to consider is using AI for content making. Did you know that you can actually have a robot show up as you to make content without losing the purpose of your mission in your organization? I know it sounds a little bit cheesy, but we have the expert that's going to take us down the path here on Leaders Lead the Podcast today. What's up, Dallin?
Hey, how you doing? Thank you so much for having me on.
Dude, thank you for saying yes, man. I know the people that are watching this, the people that are listening, they're like, I can have AI content. And Tony said something about robots. I was kidding about the robot part, but tell me about Simply Edit Pro, man. What is that about?
No, it's crazy. We're living in an interesting time right now. People are still catching up to the fact that AI is one of these tools that is going to be a must to be implemented in a lot of these traditional business structures, like a lot of the software as a service, a lot of people who are just doing, services for B2B companies and stuff like that. AI has become one of the most pillar things you can add to boost productivity and like really just gain a lot more revenue. But we've been doing a lot of interesting things. Simply Edit Pro started from basically just trying to fill a need in the real estate niche. Big time, we just wanted to help get more leads and sales. A digital mentor of mine is Daniel Priestley, and he says all leads, all business is downstream from leads. And so I knew from a very young age that I needed to learn how to develop lead sources. And I knew that video was one of my prime ways of doing that. And it kind of started from a very complex, things that happened to where I found the services I need now. But really, I'm just here serving people with new tools and packaging things. But yeah, I don't really know where to start when it comes to describing the business.
Yeah, when I'm curious, you said like getting leads. What can people use AI to get leads for when it comes to content? Are we talking about like some of the stuff that I see on social media when they have like ChatGPT write their posts? Is that the kind of thing that we're talking about when?
Yeah, a lot of people will use ChatGPT for baseline, like rough drafting a lot of things and posts and social media. We're using it in a lot of different ways. The first one is making training videos for a lot of like higher end companies. So what we'll do is we'll take what's called the key person of influence in your business. So this is basically the person that is known for being on camera. So like actually you would be the key person of influence just as, maybe like the CEO of Apple, Tim Cook, would be the key person of influence. And so we take this key person of influence and we clone them. We make a digital AI avatar of them. It's pretty convincing too. And it wasn't always convincing, but we've gotten to a point to where we can make full scale training videos, onboarding people to help you like get on your team. We also turn that into anything else we can. So we've created full scale courses with digital avatars. We've created full monetized products. And we're really just interested in working with people who want to know more about the technology, because those are the people who are on the ground floor of a lot of this AI stuff right now.
Yeah, what I'm curious, you said courses, and for those of you all that don't know this, Simply Edit Pro, they're a sponsor of the show. I'm rhyming all over. Simply Edit Pro, sponsor of the show. You talked about course making. How does that work? So you're saying, like, how does that work with AI? So if I wanted to build a course, I'll tell you right now, I start getting anxious right now just thinking about building a course because of everything that you have to do. You got to map out the course. I mean, you and I, we've made a course together. If we y'all that don't know, Dallin is responsible for making the Art of Speaking course. We shot probably, it took us like months and months to do that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So a lot of people know that if you've ever made a course, it takes an extreme amount of work, effort, and things outside the course too. You're essentially a teacher creating a syllabus for an audience or your students. And the amount of work that goes into it is kind of crazy. And so implementing AI avatars into this process has really turned the timeline on its head. So we are able to make a course in half of a month now. So about maybe 2 to 3 weeks, we can get full scale courses. And this isn't just like, this is everything. This is, the syllabus itself. We create all of the actual topics. We create digital downloads, PDFs, quizzes, and the email marketing in the back end that follows up and reaches out to people and all of it. And your AI avatar is representing you on screen. And we basically edit it like a engaging YouTube video. So there's B-roll going on, there's footage and music and text on screen, infographics. It's what we do to kind of ease people into the AI avatar. It's not just the avatar.
Oh, so because I've seen videos before. We're talking about, I'm sure the technology is way more advanced right now. I've seen videos probably about 4 years ago that was AI, and I'm like, oh man, what's this shit? Like, you can't fool me with this. So it sounds like the technology itself has advanced. Can you talk a little bit about that? The difference? Does it still kind of look to where you're like, oh, I know that this is AI kind of thing?
Yeah, I'm going to say it's about 80% of the way there. A lot, I would say 80% because when I have gone to edit or manage my team to edit a course that was AI, and you got at least 10 minutes of an AI figure on the screen, you're going to have a lot of embellishing to do to like make sure people don't get uncomfortable with the AI or even notice you're doing your job well. But we are putting that extra 10% in editing to try to make it smoother. Voices are just about there when it comes to voice cloning. If you want to clone your voice, I think it's absolutely the time to do that. And it's only going to get better from here. 3 years ago, I'd not be saying that. Yeah, same for the avatars. The avatars do not represent what they are today, even just a year ago. You can do pretty amazing things. And one of the cool things that we've achieved for our recent client is we did one of the first two angle AI avatar.
No way.
Yeah, moments. Yeah, it was really cool. And of course, we had two separate angles of an AI avatar. And this is just one way we're able to really immerse the viewers into, being able to really, get past that it's an AI and just like teach the knowledge and like actually have people feel comfortable during that.
Yeah, I like that. So because one thing that I would be thinking is, as somebody that's listening to this show, I would be thinking, oh, well, I get advertised to a lot about doing stuff on AI. I could just go and just hook it up and do it and do it myself and have an amazing product. And so what you're saying and what you're telling me is there's a lot of work, 80% there, and you're bringing it along the extra 20%. And there's a lot of work that go on in the background to make it an actual product that is believable, a product that's actually serving the people. So I would screw this thing up very badly if I went and paid for a service that was like 1995 a month, copy and paste chat GPT. Here's my course to sell it kind of thing. Would that work?
Here's the thing, you can sell that. And I would say that's a good way to do low ticket and high volume. And you got to really get the numbers right when it comes to your marketing on the back end. But I'm not in the business of that, and I don't believe my clients should be either. And so we work with a lot of more high ticket individuals, executives, people of representing their personal brand. So these are those key persons of influence that I had referenced earlier. These people basically have a lot of power to be able to create high ticket products on their own because they gain that trust with their consumer, and it sells a lot easier.
I love that. So what I'm hearing from that, if I was to do that and there's a chance that I could lose credibility with my audience.
Yeah, you want to pack value into your content. That's the thing I missed. If you pack value into it, you're able to charge a lot more. And that's what we do at Simply Edit Pro is we create systems with high value that pretty much just kind of make the sales process as easy as possible. There's a lot of friction when it comes to building your own course and a lot of time that comes into, building training videos and systems to get people to have least resistance when it comes to A to B. You know what I mean? A lot of people get that solved with a lot of our systems. So that's nice.
Yeah. So what's your background? Do you have a background in content creation? Why did you create this freaking thing? I think it's the best thing since sliced bread. And I was just curious, what made you do this?
Yeah, I do have a strange background when it comes to this stuff. AI, I do not have a background in, and then recently it came up and everybody's an expert, right? But my background started with mostly videography. I was doing anything. I mean, music videos to, I even filmed like ASMR videos for people who wanted to start their own YouTube channel. And it turned into,
That's awesome.
it turned into me realizing that I needed to change. It turned me into creating a better version of my product because I realized I could serve people who don't have a lot of money and basically just give them mock work, and that would basically turn into manifesting what I want in the future. And so I'd reach out to companies that I had no business working for, and I would just say like, hey, I made you this, like if you're interested, like you can pay this much, but if not, you can keep it and just give me some credit for it. I did that over and over again. Finally, I just had this like big break when I was younger, about 22 years old. I just decided I did the gamut. I dropped out of college. I like quit my job. I was working at like a dispensary in Seattle and just not happy. And so I just ended up quitting my job, and I ended up going to this real estate company that my mom was leaving, funny enough. And she was like, you guys should meet my son. He does video and stuff like that. And so I basically build a pitch deck. I go into this real estate company and I basically pitched them marketing services and video content services. I created a package and slide decks. This was the first time I'd ever done anything like this. And it went incredibly well. I mean, I was so nervous and shaky in the meeting. I remember them pointing it out even, but all of it was there. All of the value and the systems had been accounted for and quantified. And that was my first time packaging something for a client when it came to, making a service. And so that was a big break for me, starting Simply Edit Pro at least.
Dude, that is so cool. So your first pitch, you ended up doing it. I'm pretty sure that did wonders for your confidence. A lot of the people that send us emails, of course, you know about the platform with helping people with public speaking. That's a lot of the people they reach out to us because they're struggling with that. And what I'm hearing you say is you were nervous as hell, but you still went through and you did your pitch. Did you ever feel like before you pitched your first client, like, oh, like did you have any kind of self-doubt at all?
Absolutely. I mean, at that time, especially, I was, even an even younger 20-year-old. And I mean, I'm younger. I have like tattoos, and I knew easily I could not be taken serious. And so, what I think got me there was that belief that I'm immediately not going to be taken seriously as soon as I walk through the door. So if I don't come with value, I'm going to be pretty much laughed out the door. And so, what my superpower is to this day serving my clients has always been radical empathy for
Mm,
the people I'm serving. Those people have always deserved that, and I never really clocked it. But unfortunately, it came from me being like worried about not being good enough, or like the value wasn't there. So I let the work speak for itself. But it is that empathy rather than the actual feeling insecure about that. It's the empathy for the client that was my superpower.
oh wow. I love that. I mean, I love the direction that we're going when we say radical empathy for the client. What does that look like?
The biggest thing is understanding them in their shoes. So, for example, if I were to have like a sit down meeting with you and you might be interested in some of the things we do at Simply Edit Pro, I would just start with getting to know you. I think the best thing to do is collaboration and not some, you fill out a quiz and then you're good to go or something like that. It's not a one size fit all. Different
Mm,
businesses have different things. So with you, I would sit down and I would say, this is a speaker. This is someone who has a background in, the military, someone who has a background in serving a lot of different areas, a lot of different industries. So with you, I'd be like, okay, you have the ability to create high level courses to serve audiences in the military background who are struggling with leadership or speaking or maybe even finances. And so what you can do is you can create three courses right off the bat for those three topics. And then we can also create three books for you on those three topics. And then create a YouTube channel, maybe one to two that cover each of those topics to kind of build an audience and have, evergreen content working for you. And at the same time, we have um, annual content that is basically running as an ad to feed this machine. So what we do is we create systems for individuals based off of their superpowers, right? So you being the key person of influence, I named your superpowers based off of your past and who you can serve truly.
I love that. And it sounds like that made me that I don't know if you could see me, but I was smiling when you said that because oftentimes what entrepreneurs do, I mean, at least with me, I'm a 4-year entrepreneur, and me working off of my superpowers or my strengths, that wasn't easy for me. Just like every entrepreneur, I'm working on schedules, working on like all of this stuff, to be able to do what we're doing right now and to have this conversation. There's a lot of logistics that go to it. And I just like the sound of playing off of your superpowers, not having to force stuff. What would if you had a customer, if there's somebody that's listening to this right now and it's just like, hey, my superpower, everybody's telling me that I need to get on camera, that I need to make content. What kind of content would you think that they should make? And how would Simply Edit Pro help them with making this content?
That's fair. That's fair. It would definitely start with a conversation. I would get to know that person again, their past. Do they have a background in something that is actually of value to the thing that they want to do? So a lot of people see things online and they see the thing and it makes the money. And they have no background in it though. And so, if you want to be a trader and you go and learn on trading courses, you're not going to beat the best traders in the world. But, and you might not even be analytical and have no background. But if you have a background in, maybe you are really good with, cars, you actually like are really good at fixing your car. You don't even consider that like something, but I mean, you could turn that into a full scale empire, just
Mm.
having knowledge and love behind fixing cars. There are YouTube channels of people, selling courses and talking about, how to fix your car as a blue collar individual, as just someone on an average salary. I mean, there's so many markets you can serve. There's so many ways you can do that. And so finding your superpower is the first step, and being true about that, not just what makes the money. And like, I want to be a trader on Wall Street because it looks cool and it makes the money. It's no, it's these are the things I've shown interest and evidence in being passionate about my whole life.
Yeah, that's good. That is so good. That reminds me of my own journey. I remember when I was working in corporate, and I love people. And I thought that that meant like when I was working as a firefighter, I mean, I liked doing that. When I was working as a corporate safety director, I liked kind of doing that, but it wasn't necessarily my passion. So I wasn't waking up every day saying, "Oh my God, I can't wait to go and do this." Right? Do you get that feeling? Do you have that passion when you're working with people to create content? I think I know the answer already, but
Yes, lucky enough, I do feel that. The biggest thing that I'm grateful for is the clients that I work with allow me to play. And when I say play, I get to be this like visionary, pondering person sometimes, where I'm just sitting there and thinking about, again, the radical empathy kicks in, like just sitting there drinking like a cup of coffee, like just thinking about my clients constantly. How can I make their life better? What systems can I build to, you know, bring their pain points down to from a 10 to a 2? These are the things that are keeping me up at night mostly. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's in a good way because I get to play, I get to build things, and I feel in control. You know what I mean? It's like that first time that you're in your room and you get to like build something without your parents' permission. You know what I mean? Kind of kept that childlike joy throughout building the business.
Dude, that is so cool. What are some of the bigger obstacles that you had to go through in order to get to where Simply Edit Pro is right now?
Mhm. Well, one thing is nailing my offer and being very, very niche about choosing my audience. My
Mm.
audience was something I really struggled with in the beginning. Again, a lot of people get stuck with low ticket when it comes to their product. And I think that is because of their audience. So they worked backwards and started with who's got the money, first off, who's got actual capital to play with and work with and has a budget for these things that you're offering. That's a great first step. And then working backwards from there, basically finding their pain points, define them, and then packaging that up into a seamless offer for them. That was like the hardest thing I had to do when it came to breaking out of, working with artists and, people who don't typically spend, you know, thousands, tens of thousands of dollars on marketing and some of the things that I tried to offer. And so that was the biggest hurdle, was finding out who I was and who I was going to serve in business. And I think I really found that.
So that's so beautiful. I don't think enough people talk about that enough as far as finding the people that's willing and can pay for your skill. I was one of those people where I'm like, basically, when it's all said and done with, like, how much do they got? Right? How much do they
Right.
got? Not them meeting me where I'm at, but me having to meet them where they're at. And I noticed that those customers that could not afford my product, could not afford my services, what I noticed is those are the worst customers. Those are the worst and most pickiest customers that you could ever freaking have. And that's why it's just like I was just thinking when you were talking about that, like, man, that was the missing piece for me for a very long time. And it sounds like you've had to go through some shit in order to figure that out. Is that true?
It's true. It's true. I think the most part, it was starting with very like rapid niching. So I only worked with real estate agents for a while because it was working and I understood like how to serve their needs. And then from there, I've just been slowly branching out, like just working with different people in different industries. And I realized it's not an industry problem. It is the key person of influence problem. That's what it is. It's these faceless brands have a lot harder of a time like marketing their products and services. I've noticed in the beginning. In the beginning, so don't think like Nike or Disney now. Like think in the beginning when it was, they were just I can't remember what their shoes were called, like Blue Stripes or something like that, or
Check. I I seen a documentary about that. I should know that. I
yeah,
just
yeah.
watched it not too long ago, but I'm tracking. Yeah.
Yeah, these people have a lot easier time selling their products and services, and it's all the way down to people like us who are starting entrepreneurial feats and businesses. So I work with a lot of coaches, a lot of speakers, people who are looking to build products that are monetized for themselves and their team around them. And so people connect with people more than they do with brands is another thing that I've noticed. It's hard to fall in love with a logo more than it's
Mhm.
easier to fall in love with, like LeBron James or like Michael Jordan or some of these amazing people in the world that represent these logos, right? Lakers and, Jordans, obviously. But I understand a fundamental thing that I'm going to tell your viewers I think is so important. I've learned a lot of these things through my digital mentor, Daniel Priestley, but he basically believes that, I lost my train of thought. he
No, you're
basically
good.
believes that he basically believes that you need to spend your 7-11-4 with people. What this means is 7 hours, 11 interactions in 4 different locations. And so when you do this, you're basically entered into the limbic system of your client. And the limbic system is the part of the brain that basically, recognizes people on the street versus like someone you've never met before. You see Dave from, accounting on 4th floor from across the street, but everybody else is kind of just blended into the crowd. You know what I mean? You couldn't tell me what the guy's shoes were that you just walked past, but you remember like the whole outfit that Dave was wearing. So this is the limbic system that you're getting through when you spend these 7 hours with people. And so Dr. Robert Dunbar is his name, and these are Dunbar's numbers. And so implementing this into the whole sales process basically looks like creating an extreme amount of content, like
Mm.
extreme. You're not going to do it with like posting once a day necessarily. You're not going to do it with no marketing budget or cut through these days, unless you're trying to make like very intentional viral content, Lamborghinis, explosions, and, riding on horseback and
Like Mr. Beast type stuff, right?
exactly. This is very high end kind of like viral intentionality stuff. And that's not how a lot of businesses want to be represented either. So there was this gap in this window. And that's where Simply Edit Pro kind of came in. We utilize traditional content creation and then we pair that together with new AI tools. And what we're able to do is create products rapidly for people. And these products can be monetized, of course, and or they can just be in-house systems that help your business run better. Like we mentioned earlier, onboarding, training, anything to help people basically learn the business and stay out of, keeping managers on the floor, keeping people in the field instead of, trying to teach people and being bogged down because a lot of key people of influence and managers don't have time to do this kind of
Right.
stuff.
Right. Dude, that is so beautiful. What do you think are some of the drawbacks that still I has to go right now? Like if a potential customer, somebody that was interested in making content with AI, what could they expect to just be like, okay, that's not there yet?
That's a good question. I think we're able to make a lot work right now. There's not a lot, I would say, no to as far as like, can we make this? Can this work? The biggest thing is probably like longer form content is really challenging because there's
Mm.
hiccups and there's things. So if you wanted to make a podcast with two AIs talking, you might have some issues that happen, whether it's glitching or
That would
AI
be
sending.
weird anyway, wouldn't it?
I know, but you can really sell these things. Hallucinations. So AI is not always right. It'll hallucinate and say any sort of thing to try to answer the question as best as it can. So there's that. But you run into issues with that if you were to, create an AI agent of yourself pretty much and, plug it into ChatGPT, which we can do, and basically have two different people's agents talk to each other on the same podcast. And what can happen is they could start hallucinating and they could start saying crazy stuff. And so this is one thing you need to be really careful with. There's a lot of problems when it comes to that. But, in that range of 10 to 15 minutes when it comes to any sort of courses, and 30 minutes, all that stuff is really easy to work with. It basically just takes the risk factor down the least you do. But we are professionals, so we're able to cover things up and, we're able to edit and reformat. And so it's not a big issue, but that is one of the big drawbacks.
Yeah, I think that is cool that it sounds like what your company is doing. You're creating different angles so that as soon as I'm like, wait a second, it's like boom, it goes someplace else. And I'm really happy that I've been able to see the work that you've done. Like I really cannot tell that it's AI. I can't tell the difference. I don't know how many times I've sent you text messages like, hey, that was a cool post. Is this real? It's crazy. It's almost like I'm hallucinating, which I think is so freaking cool. I think the work that you're doing is so phenomenal. And I would challenge the people that, again, I will challenge the people that are saying or maybe thinking or maybe on the fence about using AI.
Yeah. Yeah. I think the one thing I could say to challenge those people is if you're not at least starting to try to implement it, you're losing money or you're getting left behind is what's happening, unfortunately. But the biggest thing is I run an AI company that helps create products for people, but I am a human being and I feel those biases when I see AI content and I know it's AI content. I
Mhm.
truly feel like I'm being like ripped off or something like that. I have this weird bias. I really do. I'm a human being and these are real feelings. And so the radical empathy comes back in. And so for my
Mm.
clients, everything we do, everything my team does is to basically counteract that uncanny valley feeling you get when you're watching some of these AI characters speak. And so that's kind of the beauty and the finesse of the company is making these AI figures realistic. And it's just a small part of what we do, but it's becoming one of the most interesting parts of our business.
Yeah. No, I can appreciate you saying that. I actually was working with a company that used not so much AI avatars, which I want to learn from you about that one. Remind me just in case I forget about the actual AI avatars and how you develop them. But I was working with a company that uses AI and it was like content creation type thing. I would get batches of content, which I'm like, okay, this is cool. I got a batch of content. This is dope. But the human would have to go back and do so much freaking work to get it to where it starts and it stops at the right time. And I'm just like, there is no way that I could freaking use some of this just AI created content. And I feel like there's a lot of content creation AI platforms out there that are selling this to people and they're using it and they're not fooling anybody but themselves. And it's just like, why the hell can't they just go and find a company like yours that will create it to where it's not distasteful, to where you're not freaking trying to trick the people and they don't feel like fools for just watching it. Like I felt like a fool freaking paying for this service. I'm just like, what the hell, man? You know what I'm saying? And it sounds like what you do is you put a lot of effort, you put a lot of you're you're not just using the AI, you're presenting it in a package that's relatable, presenting it in a package that's real. And I really appreciate that. And I was just going to ask you one more question. I was going to ask you, how do you go about creating an avatar? Like if we wanted to make an AI Tony for like a minute, like how would we do that? And what would that look like for me?
Yeah, so we are using some crazy in-house $1 million proprietary software that we built or anything. Our tools are basically, like you said, are used by the public, but we put a lot more intentionality and a lot more embellishment on the products afterwards. And so to build the actual AI agent, you can use, there's a couple different platforms, but the one that we like the most right now is HeyGen. HeyGen is amazing, and it's just showcasing some of the fleets that we're able to do, because we can create the avatar of you, right? We can copy you or the key person of influence in your business. We can make full scale products and anything from there. Like, so just imagine I can basically create text prompts for you all day. So we have entire teams basically creating the back end of things, which would be, the syllabus for your courses, which would be, the structure for your YouTube videos for the next year and a half, which would
Wow.
be, all of your full scale books mapped out as far as overviews, because we don't have AI write the books. We just have them do overviews, and we work with you to actually build those books. And we can talk about how we write books for people who aren't authors too, which is a really interesting system. But these are the main things that the actual HeyGen avatar lets us do. And then we basically just take it and run with it from there. And so it's really just the team that you're buying. You're buying a lot of smart people when you work with companies like mine to basically put together people who are smarter than me, obviously, to put together these incredible packages in record time. I mean, nowadays, this really is just, we're breaking records when it comes to the volume and the sheer quality of these things.
Wow. How much content would you say that you could pump out like in a day's worth of time compared to me sitting here with my camera? Hey, this is Tony freaking how does that look?
Yeah, there's an onboarding process. When you work with Simply Edit Pro, we sit you down and we say, okay, these are the types of content we want to make for you. Obviously, you might want the traditional stuff, static posts. You might want, YouTube videos. You might want courses, and you might want books. And so what we do is we don't cremate, we create. We create.
No, you are. I think you're cremating. You're burning. I feel like you're burning all the old processes.
Your past self.
Yeah.
So at Simply Edit Pro, we create formats to basically have some sort of benchmark, right? Like, this is what it's going to look like if I put it out. Like, here are the bumpers. Like, you can't go outside these bumpers. Here's like, we sit down and we understand your brand from the ground up. So we're not going to say anything out of turn. We make sure to leave like politics out of it or anything like that. And we want to make sure that we get all of these things figured out in the very beginning. So after you're done with onboarding, we just go. We just make things from there. And you would know that we're going to stay within these bumpers. And so there's a lot more control there, which feels really nice. And so, for example, if you wanted static posts, we would create, some sort of format for the post. We get approved list of pictures of you. We would get, things that you want to put on those static posts, whether it's quotes, compelling statistics that have to do with what you're selling, anything adjacent. And we basically are able to create, getting into the numbers, we're able to create anywhere from, 100 to 1,000 pieces of static content in that format in a matter of days. So
Whoa.
you can have a year's worth of posts in a matter of a couple of days. And this goes across the board. So when it comes to video, things get a little bit longer for the timeline, obviously. It's a little bit harder to automate like some of these video things because there's a lot of intentionality in hiding the AI and intentionality in like placing B-roll and like music and certain things in the right places, embellishments in the right places. But what we've been able to do is create these amazing systems that kind of give us a two birds, one stone kind of thing. So when we're writing books for people, it's not just a book. We're creating a full scale YouTube channel at the same time. How do we do this? We basically, like I said, have teams creating overviews of all the books that you want to create in the series. These are for people who want to scale like crazy fast. I mean, it's a very niche thing, but a lot of executives and people want this.
I think we all should want to scale fast, man. I'm getting excited. Keep going, man. I'm sorry. This is so good.
Having a book and a YouTube channel and all of these in courses is a good key person of influence move. And so when we write books for people, we aren't writing books. We're creating overviews, right? So when we create the overview of a book, like you might be interested in making like a book on finances and helping people, achieve some sort of like financial freedom or anything like that. We'll create chapters and then sub chapters. So let's say we create 10 chapters and we create 4 sub chapters per 10 videos. You know what I mean? That's roughly 36 sub chapters. So that would mean we need to make 36 YouTube videos on these sub chapters. And so if we make anywhere from 10 to 15-minute videos on each of the 36 sub chapters, we will have words from that person explaining the concepts that they're teaching their audience anyways. And it's not written by AI. It's them, a lot of people can do a YouTube video, right? When you think about it, if I told you, I'll give you $100 if you can make a YouTube video explaining how to be a better speaker utilizing this specific technique, right? And that's a subchapter, using this technique, right? And so if you can create a YouTube video in your own words from 10 to 15 minutes, you can create a subchapter of a book. If you can do that 36 times and then you can put it all together and you use our team to help you edit the book and publish the book, like we basically can create and transcribe an entire book from 36 videos that are being posted to your YouTube channel. So what you're doing is at the same time, simultaneously, with either yourself or your AI avatar, you are creating a full-scale YouTube channel with evergreen content that can be marketed. In the description, we're also running links and funnels and back end things to help push people to your services. This is basically what we do to build people up extremely fast. Like we have systems that are so customized to that person and their sales. And then in the back end, we have the AI tools pushing it. It's insane. Like we're able to blow people up with the right budget in a matter of a couple months. They become key people of influence, and it's very new and it's very interesting, but I think that's about it mostly.
Dude, that's super dope. That is so dope. That would alleviate a lot of pain, a lot of stress for so many people, because they say every entrepreneur, especially small business, I mean, every business should be making some type of content so that we could see the business that we potentially could be doing business with. And having these tools sounds like a no-brainer for the folks that are like, you know what, Dallin, you tease me, man. You've been teasing me this whole time. I want you to help us create some amazing content for our organization. Where can they go to enlist your services?
Yeah, so people can find me and my team at simplyeditpro.com, SIMPLY editpro.com. These people, if they want to reach out, they can always just book me through my calendar on there, schedule some time. It's completely free to talk to me or my team. And we just do what we have been discussing, is like talk about you, learn about you. It's basically I have nothing to sell you. Really, I have only things as far as tools and packages to offer you. I have things that I've kind of created packages for because we've done it a few times now. So like if you're interested in like the book to YouTube channel conversion kit, that's a 3-person team and that could be scaled. And so we're able to basically have pricing on that and show you like what that looks like, as far as like, if you paid us the minimum amount, this is how fast we could do it with this many people, and here's what you get. And then of course, if you double it, you get it faster and faster and faster, because we can add more team members, utilize the AI tools, and you can have 2 books per month. You can have a book per month. You can make 2 courses per month. I mean, it's pretty cool if you're intentional about it. You don't have to do these 2-year-long campaigns with marketing companies to create a bunch of monetized products. I mean, in the first 6 months, if you do a 6-month campaign with us, you could have everything you would need with a traditional 5 to 3 year campaign with a marketing company. And so that's our business. We're in the business of speed, and we're in the business of, again, radical empathy for the client.
Oh, I love that. I'm going to go to simplyeditpro.com. Yeah, man. Hey, I appreciate you for taking the time to talk to me, taking the time to talk to our audience. Did I leave out anything? Is there anything that you're like, man, they have to know about this?
If you're a real estate agent or you work with a team, even, it doesn't have to be real estate, but if you manage a team, my tools are really good for those kind of people. If you are a team leader and you're kind of bogged down, check out simplyeditpro.com. That's something I would just point out to people. Yeah, if you're interested in learning more, just reach out and we'd love to have a conversation with you guys. We're going to have to start a waiting list here soon, but right now we're open and we're excited to talk to most people.
So get it while you can get it, folks. There's a waiting list getting ready to start because all these entrepreneurs, they are wising up and they're using AI, which that's something that we should probably start using too. So thank you so much, Dallin, for your time, man. I really appreciate you. Like I said, educating us. I've learned so much. I get thousands of content. Oh my God. Thank you so much. I'll talk to you later, man.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you for allowing me to travel with you on your journey. I want to say thank you for the things that you're doing, the things that you've done, and the things that you're going to do, because I know that you're going to do something truly amazing. Remember, I'm here to stand by you as you chase your dreams, lead with greatness, and continue to make a difference. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast so that you can be notified every time we drop a new episode. I'll see you next time on Leaders Lead the Podcast. Peace.